Good evening, everyone, and welcome to a special Hump Night edition of the Danger Zone. Coming up on the show, we will preview the NBA Finals, which begin tomorrow night. Also, we take a look at this Caitlin Clark WNBA situation as the league is on fire right now. Controversy all over the place. A lot of NFL signings this week. We'll touch on those. And also, has CJ Stroud been talking a little too much this offseason? We'll tackle all of that and more next on the Danger Zone.
You're in the danger zone. You're in the danger zone. You're in the danger zone. You're in the danger zone. You're in the danger zone. You're in the danger zone. You're in the danger zone. You're in the danger zone. You're in the danger zone. You're in the danger zone. You're in the danger zone. You're in the danger zone.
Welcome, everyone, to a special Wednesday night edition of the Danger Zone. I am your host, Ken Moore. I'll be joined shortly by my partner, Floyd B. I want to welcome everyone into the show. Big show coming up for us here tonight as we'll touch on the NBA Finals coming up, the WNBA season, and all of the turmoil and shenanigans going on in that league so far. And then, of course, we'll take a look at the NFL. Justin Jefferson with a big contract signing this week, and CJ Stroud making a lot of offseason noise. But first and foremost, before we get into the show, we want to take care of the housekeeping duties. First and foremost, if you are watching on YouTube, Twitter, X, Facebook, we want you all to subscribe to the show, like the show, hit that notification bell, and then, of course, we want you guys to be an active participant in the show as well by leaving your comments so we can find out what you guys think on all those subjects. So make sure you guys definitely take care of that for us. So without further ado, let me bring in my partner, Floyd B., my brother, decked out in his H-Town Houston Texans garb, if you will, and you're looking quite dapper there, my brother. You're looking quite dapper there this evening. Welcome to the show, everybody.
Hey, man, thank you for the proper introduction that I so rightfully deserve, man. But it's glad to be back. You know, we've been a little bit under the weather. A lot of other things been going on. We kind of missed the episode or so, but again, we're here, and we appreciate everyone that's joining in. And y'all, come on, let's have some fun tonight.
Yeah, no doubt. We definitely want you guys to be heavy participants in the show here this evening. Well, first and foremost, man, it's been a lot going on in the sports world this week. The whole Caitlin Clark, Chicago Sky drama. We had Cameron Brink weigh in on that. We'll talk about that in a few moments. CJ Stroud going back and forth with members of the Indianapolis Colts, the linebacking crew. I'm not sure how smart that is to be talking noise to a group of linebackers. We'll see how that plays out. And then, of course, we had the unfortunate passing of Dallas Cowboy legend Larry Allen, and we'll talk about that a little later in the show. But first and foremost, on the break coming up tomorrow night, finally, after over a week off, we finally get some NBA action back. The NBA Finals starting in Boston tomorrow night. The Dallas Mavericks, the 5th seed, coming out of the West, going against the Boston Celtics, the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference. We're going to break this all down for you on how we think this series is going to go. NBA 2K even had a rendition of how they think the season is going to go. So we'll touch on that as well. Any opening thoughts, my brother, on the NBA Finals beginning tomorrow night?
It's about damn time. We've been waiting so long. That's a big layoff, man. But they wasn't anticipating, the T-Wolves losing in 5 and Indiana losing in 5. Everybody went 5 games. No, they got swept. No, Indiana got swept. So
Indiana got swept.
No one was anticipating that. So we had a little drought, kind of sitting around, man. I guess, me, I did a little housework and a little yard work here and there, man. Just trying to fill in the space, man, until we get this opportunity again. Now let's get to the business. The Boston Celtics, Jason Tatum in particular. And I'm going to start off early by putting Jason Tatum in the danger zone.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm starting off early. He's in the danger zone. Because since he entered the league in 2017 as the 3rd pick, he has been to 5 conference finals. 5 conference finals. And now making his 2nd final appearance. And his first go around against Golden State, he didn't show up. He didn't show up in that series against the Warriors 2 years ago. He didn't. If he showed up, I really believe the outcome could have been different, at least going 7 instead of beating them in 6, But Jason Tatum's in the danger zone because me and you talked off the air about Jason Tatum. And I made a comparison to him to Clyde Drexler. And I made that comparison based on how his season went this season and how he was last season. For the last 3 years, Jason Tatum had finished 3rd and 4th in the NBA MVP voting. It's also that's the highest Clyde Drexler had ever finished in the MVP voting, was 3rd. They definitely not the same type of player. Clyde, we know Clyde was a greyhound. Shout out to our boy from H-Town, man. Shout out to him. Clyde was a greyhound. Clyde get up and down. That Clyde don't get tired. Clyde didn't get tired. But nevertheless, Clyde fell short. When, other than Jordan, and that's the GOAT. Clyde was playing the era with Jordan, so we're going to give him a pass to some degree on that. But Clyde, it was always Jordan and someone else in front of Clyde in the MVP voting. And it's kind of the same way with Jason Tatum, man. It's someone and two that's in front of him, even though he's having a spectacular season. But now it's time for him to deliver. Now, if the Celtics happen to lose this series and he balling out, I don't think any criticism would come his way. I think it will all fall in the lap of the head coach. But if he's the reason that they don't win, will the Celtics reevaluate this $400 million contract that he's asking for? Will they do that?
Nope.
They're going to give him the $400 million.
I think it's like $350, but whatever it is, he's gonna get his bag. He's going to get his bag.
Yes.
I disagree with you with putting Tatum in the danger zone. I'm going to use your own facts against you. 26 years old, 5 trips to the conference finals. This will be his second trip to the NBA finals. I think that's one hell of a resume for a 26-year-old. I don't know of another 26-year-old with a resume like that, because you remember most of the greats have not won their first championships until after the age of 27. Elijah won, Jordan, all those guys, LeBron,
Steph.
Yeah, those guys didn't win their first championship until after the age of 27. So I'm gonna have to disagree with you on that one, my brother. I don't think Jason Tatum is in the danger zone. Now, could he go in the danger zone if he has another subpar NBA Finals? Yes, I think he could at that point. But I think what he's accomplished to this point, now they've had a great team around him. They've had several very good coaches around him as well. They've had a great structure around him. And he's been able to take advantage of that. I think Jason Tatum, we have to be careful, in my opinion, in our criticisms, because this is a guy that has accomplished way more than what we expected of him coming out of college and where he was drafted. You brought up that draft, the 2017 draft, I think it was, where he went third. You know, the Lakers passed on him for Lonzo Ball. I think Philly passed on him. They drafted Markelle Fultz. So those first 2 picks were busts for all practical purposes. You know, shout out to Lonzo Ball. Most of his has been due to injury and whatnot. But those first 2 picks don't light a candle to what Jason Tatum has done coming out of that 3rd slot in the draft. And if you told the Boston Celtics that, hey, in 2017, we're going to go to 5 conference finals and 2 NBA finals, and this kid's first 6 years in the league, I think they take that all day and every day on Sunday.
Those are good facts. But here's why I differ with you just a little bit. You said those guys that you named, Steph, Braun, Jordan, Dream, none of them was fortunate to have a great team around them so early in their career that Jason Tatum has had. They did not have the success that early in their career that JT has had. Now, a lot of that has to do with front offices and trades and, you know, GMs and things. Shout out to the Celtics. They front office, they have been great. You know, the Celtics front office has been great, going from Danny Ainge to Brad Stevens, and the boat keep rolling. But at some point, you're going to have to break this Utah Jazz cycle. You're going to have to break it. You're going to have to break it. You're going to have to break this Jazz cycle. You're going to have to win. You're going to have to win, because he had a better platform, better surrounding supporting cast than all those guys that we named that went on into their late 20s of winning championships. You know, we was here at H-Town, 84 when we drafted Elijah Wan. We wasn't that good, I think we made the playoff the next year, and then of course the 3rd year we was in the finals. Okay, so but we didn't get back to the finals no more for another 8 years.
Right,
for another 8 years. You feel what I'm saying? This guy has been, in his conference finals and now his second NBA finals. I mean, he's been blessed with a lot of talent around him. He's the man, but he has a great supporting cast.
Well, I think what happened to him, I think what happened to Tatum in that finals a couple of years ago against Golden State, I think he was 24 at the time, was the same thing that happened to LeBron against the Mavericks in the finals. The moment was too big. The spotlight was too big. it was too big for him at that time. And he didn't have, remember they had a rookie coach. I think Ime Udoka was a rookie coach at that time as well. So, I mean, it was inexperience all across the board for the Boston Celtics when they went up against the Warriors. I think they had a better team than Golden State, but that's where the experience of the Warriors came into play. And you saw Andrew Wiggins play absolutely out of his mind in that series. So I think that's where Jason Tatum was at that point. I think the Jason Tatum that you're going to get beginning tomorrow night, I think it's going to be a little bit different. I think he's going to be more composed. I think you're going to see a better performance. Now, as we go to breaking down the series, I think the Celtics could lose this series and it not be Jason Tatum's fault. So as we get into the breakdown, now my preseason prediction, and this goes all the way back to last summer, and you and I have talked about this before, is that I picked the Celtics before the season started to win the NBA championship, primarily because of their acquisition of Kristaps Porzingis. I know you're not a big Kristaps Porzingis fan, but the guy is 7'3". He's a deadly shooter from the outside. He averages 20 and 9 when he's healthy, when he's on the court, and he gives you the ability to space the court and bring those big guys from Dallas from underneath the basket. Derek Lively and Gafford, they're not going to be able to sit back in the paint like they did against Minnesota because you had Gobert in the lineup who can't shoot. You had Karl Anthony Towns in the lineup who forgot how to shoot in the series. They're not going to be able to sit back in the paint if Kristaps Porzingis can give them at least 70 to 80% of himself. But if Porzingis is not a factor or if he can't go at all in this series, then I think the tables turn completely to the Dallas Mavericks because of the inside presence of Lively and Gafford.
At some point, I'll get a chance to pull up and see what draft was Porzingis in. I'm almost sure that Phil Jackson was still calling shots in New York when he was drafted.
Absolutely.
And I think he was a little bit in front of the game. What I mean was he was shooting threes in New York at 7'3". And that was a little bit the wine that the league had that kind of rubbed off on me. But that was my wine with him. You're 7'3". What are you shooting threes for? But he's skilled. He's earned my respect. He's bounced around. He was in Dallas. He was in Washington, and now he's in Boston. But the way the game has evolved and changed so much with the big man being able to stretch the floor. Yes, he is the wild card in this series if he can play. He is the wild card. I agree with you totally on that. The guy's 7'3", man. He stretched the floor, man. He's long, man. He's long, man. He's a great weak side defender. He's not great man-to-man head up, but he's a great weak side defender. It's what they was missing. And we watched Boston in the playoff room, and I told you I can't embrace the Celtics for some reason. Something is stopping me from embracing the Boston Celtics, and I don't know what it was. I still don't know. Maybe it's Porzingis, because you losing. You was getting in a habit of losing a home game in the playoffs, man.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't make any sense at all. You're the better team. I know everybody, back in football, they say any given Sunday, all that. Yeah, of course. But you're losing, and you're losing at home. Why? And again, I told you this. I said, man, it's hard to embrace a jump shot shooting team, man, to win. I mean, everybody's not the Golden State Warriors.
Right. I think that's why Porzingis is so important, because he's the one guy that, occasionally he can go in the post. and do a little work. You know, I mean, he's not going to be down there 50% of the time, but every once in a while he can go on the post and do a little work. He can give them a little inside presence. But Al Horford is really not going to give you anything on the inside. He's going to give you that 15-footer maybe from the elbow, but most of the time it's going to be those wing three-point shots trying to stretch out the defense. But we know Al Horford is a liability on the defensive end of the court, and I don't think any way a 37-year-old Al Horford over the course of a 7-game series is going to be able to stand up to the two-headed monster of Gafford and Lively. I just don't see that happening.
Let's get old man a little bit more credit. Let's get Al a little bit more credit.
Oh, I give him credit.
Let's give him a little more credit. Liability. Maybe I think it's a little too strong. I think that the Celtics have learned how to play off Horford's strengths.
Or could I say he's the weakest link on the defense?
Nah, there you go. He's the weakest.
Because the chain is only as strong as your weakest link.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay.
So he is the weakest link on the string. But if you keep him off for man to man, and again, you know, coming weak side, he still can play good weak side defense. But he's smart. He's going to give you everything that he got. He's not going to lose the game for you. But again, his minutes has to be productive. He can't be on the court scoreless in foul trouble and letting Lively them handle him on the boards. He can't do that. So in order but the strength of Horford is able to stretch the floor, so he can bring them big bodies from the basket. Those big bodies got to follow him out there, and then you have your one-on-one guys in Tatum and Jaylen Brown. So Porzingis again is the key to the Celtics winning this series. I'm picking to win it. I haven't came up with a number yet. Because that doggone Kyrie he keep amazing me, man. He keeps showing me, man. Look at here, man. And I don't like the title Robin. I don't. A lot of them don't like the title Robin. That's what the problem was the whole time in Cleveland. He didn't like to be called Robin, man. He didn't want to be Robin, man. You know, and I think sometimes the word can rub some players wrong, you know. But he's an older guy. Kyrie older. Let's give him his credit. He's more mature, man. He's talking like a grown man.
Right.
He's talking like a grown man. And when you got a guy that talent, ain't he happy too? Ain't he happy? Hey, man, you're getting the best out of him. I wish I had him right now. Come on, H-Town, boy. I wish I had him right now.
You know, it's interesting, and I don't want to sidetrack, but you mentioned the word happiness.
Yes.
And you know, we haven't talked about the Milwaukee Bucks at all, but I think one of the keys to their detriment this year, outside of the injuries and whatnot, was Damian Lillard not happy in Milwaukee. Not talking about the team, but just being in the city of Milwaukee. You can tell that he wasn't playing with the same joy and passion that he used to play with in Portland. And sometimes you have to be careful what you ask for. He thought he was going to Miami. He thought he was going to force his way to Miami, and he ended up in Milwaukee in a situation, no matter how good the team is and no matter how great Giannis is, he wasn't playing happy this year, and you could see it in his results. And you contrast that with Kyrie, who went into a situation last year. We didn't know if it was going to work or not work. You know, they missed the playoffs. They fell out of the playoffs. And but this year, as you said, he's been more mature. He's grown up. He's handled his business on the court. You haven't had all of the drama off the court. And he's playing with a joy and with a passion. And when you have a great player that's also playing free and with passion, you get the best version of that player. We'll get into the Astros later. But you look at a guy like Ryan Presley, who got demoted to a setup role, and he ain't pitching with passion. And you can see it in the results, but we'll get to that later. So, but to your point on Kyrie, I think he is playing with passion. I think he is playing with a lot of heart, and he's really got that team further than really any of us expected. Now, when we break down the starting five, okay, so for Dallas, you got Luka and Kyrie. You got Derrick Jones, who's emerged as a great 3-and-D guy throughout these playoffs. All right, then you got Derek Gafford, and you got P.J. Washington. I don't think P.J. Washington is going to get all those wide open threes in the corner that Minnesota allowed him to have. I think Boston is going to have a plan for that. So when you look up, when you contrast that with Boston starting five, you got Derek White, Drew Holiday in the backcourt. Then you got Brown and Tatum. I assume Al Horford will start game one, would probably bring in Porzingis off the bench if he's available. I wouldn't anticipate them starting Porzingis in game one. I would anticipate Al Horford starting. But I think when you look at those starting fives, I give the edge to Boston because I think the superstars are going to cancel each other out. Tatum and Brown, Kyrie and Luka. Maybe you give a slight edge to Dallas because of Luka being a little bit elevated over everyone. But I think when you go to Derrick Jones, role player, Gafford, role player, P.J. Washington, role player, and then you matching those guys up against Derek White, all defensive team, Drew Holiday, a champion, all defensive team, Al Horford, as you said, long tooth veteran. I got to give my starting five edge to Boston.
I mean, absolutely. I mean, it's going to be interesting. I want to see how Boston backcourt really match up defensively to Dallas because Dallas is backcourt driven. It's the strength of their team is their backcourt. It's interesting to see when you got two really on-ball defenders as well as off-ball, but they're really great on-ball defenders in Holiday and White. Let's see how much pressure they can apply on that backcourt. You know, if them guys are anywhere near the All-D team that they've been on, Holiday for sure. I know. I'm not sure about White. But White had a solid year. But while we speaking on this on the NBA Finals, I'm gonna have to put my co-host in the danger zone. Ken, you're in the danger zone.
What I do now?
Here's why you're in the danger zone.
You're in the danger zone.
Man, you riff and ramped about Dallas losing that home court advantage in the first round. You were highly upset with that move. And I told you, I said, big bro, I say, home court advantage is not the same as it was 10 years ago, maybe even 5 years ago. It's just not. It's just not, man. Today's NBA, it's just home court advantage is not that big of an issue now.
You're right. I was wrong. You're absolutely right.
The NBA that we live in right now, the NBA that we watch right now, it doesn't really mean a whole lot. You know, it really don't. And you have yet to give the Mavericks their flowers and
I thought I gave the Mavericks their flowers on the last show.
You didn't do nothing. You didn't do such a thing. You didn't do such.
I'm pretty sure I did. I got it on.
You didn't do such a thing. We gave a shout out to Jay Kidd. We did that.
No, because I took him out of the danger zone on the last show. I took him out of the danger zone.
Yeah, but you didn't take them out of the danger zone because they were successful and losing the home court advantage and not gaining home court advantage. You took them out of the danger zone because of their play. Play. You took them out because of their play. You have to take them out because of the comment that you made and how forceful you were with that. I mean, you were really out there with that. You really thought that they should have, and you did it. I think it was Cleveland, somebody else in the East that did the same thing.
Right.
And I said, I mean, home court advantage is not, it's just not that, it's not that important to me anymore. I don't think the teams even look at it as that important anymore. As far as as an extra home game, if they go 7 and.
But hell, they probably enjoy going on the road.
Yeah, I mean,
the private jets and whatnot. The 5-star hotels, getting away from the significant other for a little while. They probably enjoy going on the road.
Hey,
so you're probably right when it comes to that.
Yeah. So, that's just putting a bow on that story there. I mean, again, it remains to be seen. I got Boston win. I just ain't came up with a number yet, but I got them winning the series. Again, shout out to the Mavericks for getting there. No one picked them. No one had Dallas in the finals. No one.
Let's talk about the coaches. So you got Joe Mazzulla, who's been somewhat on the hot seat. He kind of cooled it this year by having the best record in the NBA, but he was highly, highly criticized the last couple of years for the team's performance in the playoffs, losing to Miami last year when they were down 3-0 in that series and had to come back to force a Game 7. Then you got Jason Kidd on the other side. The one area I will give the Mavericks the edge is definitely coaching. I think both of us have talked about our love and our respect and our accolades for Jason Kidd and what he has done. One of the few guys I heard today that has played at a Hall of Fame level and now has the chance to be a championship coach.
Joining Bill Russell.
Bill Russell was a player coach. Yeah. Tommy Hudson was a Hall of Fame player. He also won a championship as a coach of the Boston Celtics. But this would be tremendous.
I think Lenny Wilkins did it too, didn't he? I mean, I know Lenny coached the finals. Did Lenny play in the finals? I mean, it's close. He might have been too. Well, I know Bill Russell and Tommy Hine did.
Right. I didn't hear Lenny Wilkins' name, so I don't.
Yeah, so I think he just coached in it. Right. But you're right, Jay Kidd. I mean, hats off to him because that's you don't see that very often, man. And now the Celtics head coach is a former player as well. He's a former player as well. He's not a Jason Kidd by no means. And the one finals that the guy coached in, the one season that he had last season, when they go down and they lose, did they lose to Miami? And it was the finals. And one of the finals last year that they lost Eastern Conference Finals. Mm-hmm. I don't know how much of that was on him. I really don't, because the job was almost thrown in his lap. He wasn't expecting the job. I mean, he was on the coaching staff, true or not. He wasn't expecting the job. Right. But I think that personnel that they had last year, the Celtics had last year, I think it ran its course. You can only get away so long with Marcus Smart being your starting point guard. Let's be right. You can only get away so. And Derek White wasn't playing the way that he is this season because he was in and out of the starting lineup last season a lot. So I think the personnel is definitely different. They had that boy Grant who had moments. So I don't know if that personnel that he had was just necessary championship material at that time. Now, granted, they were very more talented than the Miami Heat was last season, but Eric Spoelstra was a better coach. So again, the Celtics coaches now. He's entering a series and a championship round where he's not the best coach in the eyes of most. So it's important that he come out the gate. The Celtics can't play with this team. They can't allow Kyrie and Luka to just play street ball, man. You let them do that there, you can't beat them. Can't beat them. You have to make them play systematic basketball. You have to make them move the ball around. But if you let Kyrie and Luka play free ball, free loose ball, run and gun, it's going to be hard to beat the Mavericks. But again, the Celtics, they're number 2 ranked defense in the NBA all season long behind the T-Wolves. So it's going to be a test. But again, I got the Celtics winning this series. I just don't know how long, though.
All right. Well, here is the NBA 2K simulation of how they think the series is going to go. They have Boston winning the first 2 games at home. They have Boston winning game 2 by a blowout. Here, they got the Mavericks coming back home winning game 3. They got the Celtics winning game 4 in Dallas to go up 3-1. Then they have Dallas coming back to win game 5 in Boston, game 6 at home, forcing a game 7, with the Celtics winning the game 7, 110-105. And they got Jason Tatum as the MVP of the series. And they're projecting him to average 23 points, a little under 7 rebounds, and 4 assists per game. Now, I'm going to pull up Tatum's regular season numbers during the regular season and the playoffs so far in 88 combined games. He's averaged 26.7 points a game, 8.5 rebounds a game, and 5 assists per game. So I don't know about this projection because you got all of Tatum's numbers projected to come down. But you have the Celtics winning and him being the MVP. Again, this is a simulation on NBA 2K. What are your thoughts on the prognostication of how the series may go according to NBA 2K?
As far as Jason Tatum and the number of playoff games he's had, and his average is 26 point this and 9 rebounds and 7 assists. Again, I'm not big on numbers. I'm more big on how you got the numbers. And let's be real, Ken. Can you recall a Jason Tatum moment in the playoffs? Not just this season. Oh, can you remember? Can you recall? It's sort of like Clyde. We can't remember not one moment for Clyde. And Clyde went to the finals, NBA finals twice.
I can.
Clyde?
Absolutely.
Not Houston Rockets, Clyde. Portland, Clyde. Not Houston Rockets, Clyde. Portland, Clyde.
How many games did that series go against
they
Jordan
lost in
and the Bulls?
6.
Then they lost 6
to both of them. They lost in 6 to Detroit. 6. And they lost in 6 to Michael and the Bulls.
Yeah. I think Clyde had his moments. In those series.
But
not so much against Jordan, but definitely against I think against Detroit.
I can't remember a moment. I can't.
Yeah, plenty of moments with the Rockets, and they run to the finals.
Now, the year that we went to the finals with the Rockets, he had his moments. He was what we needed. Clyde was what we needed at that moment, and he delivered. Shout out, Clyde. Come on, baby. Where you at? Tune in, Clyde.
You did for them, and now you want them to watch the show.
Come on, Clyde.
I think Dallas is actually going to win game 1. I think Boston having so much time off. I think they had like 10 days off. I think Dallas has had about 7 days off. And I think trying to work Porzingis in and figure out how he's going to fit. I'm going to take Dallas in game 1. But I think Boston will come back, win game 2. I think they'll win game 3 in Dallas, go up 2-1. I'm going to give Dallas game 4. I think it goes, and then it's a 3-game series after that. and I think it's going to go to the home teams. I think it's going to be Boston game 5, Dallas game 6, and I got Boston winning the game 7.
Because they've been off so long, I just don't. I'm gonna have to see game 1,
right,
before I can get that feel like you got, my brother. But just off my dome, I'm just picking Boston to win it. I mean, I picked them at the beginning of the year to get to the finals. I picked them. I thought the Nuggets was gonna be back-to-back champions. I really did. I picked them in Boston to be in the finals.
Mm-hmm.
But the Mavericks again, when you got a loaded backcourt like that, man, so that they can take over a game at any time. Game 1 is gonna give me some type of feeling on how this series gonna bounce. I'm still picking the Boston Celtics though.
All right. So we both have the Celtics. I got them in 7. You undecided. You want to wait and see game 1. What matchup? What is the matchup that you want to see? The matchup that I want to see is Derek White and or Drew Holiday on Kyrie Irving. I think that is going to be a fascinating matchup to watch. What do you want to see? What is the matchup that you're looking for?
The backcourt. I'm with you on that. The backcourt. I want to see how Drew them handle Kyrie them. It's the backcourt for me. That's the matchup. 8-1. It's not a particular one. That backcourt matchup is going to be very, very critical in the early parts of this series, man. Getting comfortable, getting familiar, and Drew. Let's see if Drew still got it in it.
All right, cool. So there we are, folks. That's our thoughts on the NBA. Definitely want to hear your comments. If you are watching the show on Facebook or on X, I think on Facebook you can leave your comments. You have to give permission to StreamYard to do so. Otherwise, you can just hop over to the YouTube version of the show by clicking on the link and joining the YouTube app, and then that way you guys can participate. We definitely want to hear what your predictions are for the NBA Finals. So now we are going to switch gears to the WNBA, and I have to start off by putting the WNBA, the league as a whole, in the danger zone.
You're in the danger zone. You're in the danger zone.
You got to explain that.
Why. Let me tell you why I'm putting the entire WNBA in the danger zone. So obviously everyone has been all over the Caitlin Clark, Kennedy Carter, Angel Reese, all that went into the game this past weekend on Saturday afternoon that's been beat to death in the media over the last 72 hours. So we won't bore you with that. What I will say is this. The WNBA has completely, in my opinion, mismanaged the entire beginning to this season. First of all, you have this huge campaign for Caitlin, deservedly so for Caitlin. But when you do that, there's going to be residual effect in that it's going to piss some people off. Not everybody, maybe not even most, but it's going to piss off some people because the oversaturation of Caitlin Clark, when you're not giving any shine to any of the other players. So you give all the preseason hype, the draft, everything was built around Caitlin. Coming into the season, the whole branding was about Caitlin, right? And again, no shade at Caitlin whatsoever. I actually feel sorry for Caitlin at this point. Then you look at the schedule that you put out for the Indiana Fever to begin the season. You have them playing 11 games in the first 20 days of the season. When you have the world champion Las Vegas Aces only playing 6 games. You had several other teams only playing 7 games. And not only do you give them 11 games, you give them 11 games against some of the toughest competition in the league. The New York Liberty 3 times, the Connecticut Sun 2 or 3 times, Chicago. I mean, you load their schedule up with the best teams in the league, and you forget that they were the worst team in the league last year. And what do you think is going to happen to the Golden Goose, Caitlin Clark? She's going to get beat up. She's going to get worn down. She's not going to be able to perform to the level that we hope that she could perform to. So now you're making it, well, is she that good? Does she deserve all these accolades? Does she deserve all this money? Does she deserve all of these endorsements? Yeah, she does. But the WNBA kind of screwed it up because of the schedule that they gave her team to begin the year. And then you got all the media just going crazy every time something so-called controversial happens. A hard foul, setting too hard of picks, people not giving her, players not giving her enough respect. I mean, it's just gone completely off the rails, in my opinion. And I think they've completely mismanaged this thing. You should have went into this season branding Caitlin, hell yeah. Brand the hell out of her. But you also got to brand the defending champs. You also got to brand Cordova and Angel Reese. You got to brand Cameron Brink with the LA Sparks, who's the number 2 pick in the draft. You got to give some shine to everybody. Yeah, give Caitlin the moon. Give her the moonlight. But you gotta put a little more shine on the rest of these ladies. And I think you wouldn't have all of the backlash that you. Now look, all publicity is good publicity, right? Because everybody's been talking about the WNBA. So they are getting the pub. I just think they kind of getting the pub for the wrong reasons.
First of all, this topic been hot, like you said, since the incident happened. I want to shout out to Monica McNutt, ESPN basketball analyst, female analyst, because no one said it like her. Shout out to her. And as time go on, we're going to put ESPN and Stephen A. Smith in the danger zone because she put them in the danger zone for us. She did that. She did that. Here's the deal with this. The WNBA been looking for a savior for the last 15 years. They've been looking for that. Because you and I are fans of the game, we may go a little bit more in depth than the average fan would go. But the NBA been paying for them for the longest. If not for the NBA being an adequate part of the WNBA, they'd have been folded. Let's be absolutely honest about that. Because as great as those girls are, no one is that goose, so to speak. Let's look at the NBA pre-Bird and Magic. Just look at the NBA. In those guys' eyes, they were doing well. They were great. In those guys' eyes. But where the league wanted to go, those guys that were there, that were playing their butts off, they wasn't that guy. And what I mean, not that guy, not only good, but marketable as well. Enter Bird and Matt. Enter conversation, enter eyes, everything. They brought that. They brought that. Did you not think that every chance somebody got, they put Bird on his ass? Every chance they got, they put Magic on his ass. Competition is part of the game. Of course, there's some resentment. Not everybody, and that's why I don't agree with putting the WNBA in the league, because they finally seen the machine. So I can't knock them for promoting and getting her out there and getting her exposed. But the game is gonna be, there's gonna be resentment. And let's be absolutely straight, like Monica McNutt said. The Bird and Magic thing is split. It's split. It's split. It's split with more eyes on the game, without trying to make this a black or white thing or a racial thing. If she was anybody else, anyone else, Candace Parker was, outside to me, and this just me, outside of Cheryl Swoops, Candace Parker was a beast entering into the WNBA. She was a beast. So what Kaylin is getting right now, it comes with the game. It comes with the game. The league, there's no such thing as protecting her. Like Stephen A. Smith got put in his place, protecting her with, excuse me, ride the golden goose, piggyback off of her. No, we're here to beat her. We're here to be better than her. We're here to show that she ain't that. I don't care how much money she generates and what she brings to the table. There are players in this league that has bust their butts to get where they are, with the highest salary being $250,000, and the minimum salary is what, $60,000. So it's gonna always be frustration and resentment. I'm like Monica McNutt. Everybody that's quoting and making these comments and got all this here, where were you 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, with the same energy and platform that you have now? Not just Stephen A. He's going to be the one to get this because he's the one that likes to be on the front stage on everything. I was so disgusted with him and Shannon Sharp today. I'm so disgusted with Shannon Sharp. Because
yesterday,
I was really, listen, put him in the danger zone now. Shannon Sharp goes in the danger because he was really ridiculous in what he was saying today. Quit saying this is competition. It's a dirty move. It's a dirty play.
Yeah. He kept saying the same thing over and over again. I'm like, Shannon, are you not listening?
You're not listening
to the conversation.
It's
you're
hearing,
it's
all in the form of competition. It's all in the form. Was it a dirty play or a slick move? Of course it was. But for you to deny this is competition, where you been? What are you doing? He really, really disturbed me today, man. He really did.
Yeah.
Because
no, I did. It was the same for me, man. Because I was watching. It was yesterday, I believe.
Yeah, it was yesterday. It was yesterday. I'm sorry.
And I'm watching. I'm like, Shannon, are you listening to the conversation, bro? Like we. I mean, he just kept going on about it's not competition. It's a dirty. We know it's a dirty play, Shannon. We understand that. We can all see that it was a dirty play. All right. But it ain't like she yanked the girl by her hair while she was going up for a layup and tried to break her neck. We didn't see much harder fouls than that. I mean, when it just like they mentioned, and I love, Kerry Champion and Bob Costas was on CNN last night. it was night before last, Monday night. They were on CNN talking about it. And you know, Carrie Champion, she spoke elegantly, just like Monica McNutt did. And also on her IG, she went a little bit more in depth as well. So if you guys want to go check out Carrie Champion's IG, I would encourage you to do that. But Bob Costas made the point, you know, and I applaud Bob Costas. I haven't always been the biggest fan of Bob, but I definitely respect the hell out of him, and I respect the hell out of what he said Monday night. He said, I have to admit, I don't know everything about the WNBA, and I'm not going to pretend like I do. And I'm paraphrasing, but he said, what I do know is that Angel Reese was taken down by her neck to the floor by, I think the young lady's name was Alyssa Thomas, who got ejected from the ball game, and no one said a word the next day about it. And he said, you know why? Because it was a black player against another black player. He said, you can talk about it or you can try to ignore it all you want. But it was because it was a black player against another black player, and it wasn't this polarizing conversation. It was just, it was a dirty play. Nobody said we got to protect Angel because she's a star and she's a champion. Nobody did that. But because it was Caitlyn, it got blown completely out of proportion. I want to bring up a quote from Cameron Brink, who was the number 2 pick in the NBA draft. Caucasian lady. Cameron Brink, LA Sparks. I will acknowledge there's a privilege for the younger white players of the league. That's not always true, but there is a privilege that we have inherently, and the privilege of appearing feminine. And that goes to what everyone else has been trying to say, but it took this young lady to have the guts to say, we have a privilege. The younger white players of the league have a privilege that we inherently have, and the privilege of appearing feminine. She went on to say, I'll pull up her next quote. Hope I go the right way. Some of my teammates go by they, them pronouns. I was talking about African-American players. They, them. I want to bring more acceptance. I want to bring more acceptance to that, and not just have people support us because of the way we look. Us being the white players. Don't support us just because of the way we look. She had the courage to say that. And I applaud her wholeheartedly for her words. And I thank her for her words, because it takes players like Cameron Brink. It takes broadcasters like Bob Costas, who are not us, who are not Stephen A. Smith, who are not Monica McNutt, who are not Shannon Sharp, who are not Andrea Thompson, who are not African American. It takes the white players. It takes the white broadcasters to call it like it is for the rest of us, of them, to see it for what it is. Just like players were talking about during the NFL when the whole Colin Kaepernick thing was going on. So it's going to take more than just the black players standing up. It's going to take the white players standing up too for Colin. and for the black players that wanted to take a knee at that time because of everything that was going on. And it was very few. You count on your hands that did it. But for this young lady to be a rookie in the WNBA and to have that type of foresight and to see what's going on and to speak on it, I give her all the credit in the world.
Right now, man, on this topic right here and what's going on in the WNBA with Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese and the young lady, Kennedy, what's her last name? Kennedy
Carter.
I miss Bill Walton. I miss Bill Walton on this. Because nobody could put it out there like Bill, man.
Oh, you're right, man.
You know, hey, man, nobody could put it out there like Bill Walton, man. It's always a touchy subject, Ken. And I know a lot of people, for whatever reason may be, they try to weave away and stay away from this type of topic. I don't give Stephen A. Smith no credit for what he did today because he kind of, what we're talking about, he went there. He went there saying she's white, you know, a black person, da 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 da. We've been trying to make the world, you know, I'm the reason. You see Monica McNutt, she's on first, all that old. He tried to save face because she put him on blast. He was trying to save face because she put him on blast, and they got millions of views that's still talking about that. Mm-hmm. But let's be real, Ken. The league, the WNBA, when was the last great white hope was? Was it Rebecca Lobo or Sue Bird or Dana Taurasi? These ones are faces. These are the players that the WNBA choose to promote. As great as Candace Parker was, as great as Cynthia Cooper was, as great as Lisa Leslie was, they were never the face of the league. They were never the face of the league. The NBA, you know, and I said this a while back, and these were my thoughts. They're always looking for the next great white hope. They're always. Whether we like it, whether we want to touch bases on that, whether we want to talk about that or not, they're always going to be looking for that. They always. Even in the National Football League, where now you have more African quarterbacks, starting African quarterbacks in the NFL than they've ever had. And it's not because people change. It's because the game changed.
Right.
It wasn't.
That's an excellent point.
Yeah.
That's an excellent point.
Yeah. It wasn't because of that. You know, look at Tom Brady. You remember in 2011 when Tom Brady dropped back and they went at his knee and blowed his knee out? Remember the year?
Bernard Pollard.
You remember the same incident happened to Trent Green. The same incident happened to Trent Green. But he wasn't the golden boy. The young lady, Miss Brink, that you just spoke, I applaud her. But she don't have enough shine for it to touch everybody. She got shine. Me and you, we understand. When I say shine, you know, it's sort of like a Tom Brady when we was going in the middle of the pandemic and either the George Floyd incident when we need someone of that stature. She's not that stature. I applaud her. The young lady has guts. The young lady has guts, and the young lady showed a lot of maturity. But she's not the one. She's not the one to really get that message across because her shine is not big enough. Her shine is not big enough. Of course, it was great. But how far did it go?
Well, I think it's important because she's in that rookie class.
Yes.
With Angel and Caitlin and the rest of the young ladies in that class, Cordova. I think it was important because she's in that class, and she specifically said, the younger players, right?
Yes.
She specifically said the younger players, so not the Breonna Stewarts or the Diana Taurasi, Sue Bird, the ones that have been around for a while. And I think they're trying to. I think for her, right? She wants to be recognized. Cameron Brink, I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
She wants people to root for her because she's a good basketball player.
Yeah.
Not because she's white. Not a good white basketball player.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's why she wants people to root for her. And I'm sure Caitlin feels the same way. Like Caitlin may not have that personality to speak out on things like Cameron did today. But, and like I said at the beginning of the topic, I feel bad for Caitlin because she's getting a lot of criticism that she hasn't asked for. She hasn't asked for any special treatment. She hasn't once went in the press conference and complained about hard foul. Hell, in many ways, I was upset with Caitlin for going in the press conference saying, well, I'm not going to hit back. I have to expect to get hard guys and stuff. I was like, hold on, Caitlin. No.
That's you too passive.
No, you're too passive at this point.
Yeah, you're too passive.
Now, when Kennedy Clark shoved you in the back, you should have got your butt up and went over in her face.
Yes.
That's what you should have did, not your teammates, because you and Kennedy are both guards. Y'all the same size. It ain't like you was going up against a 6'4", 6'5" young lady. Y'all the same size. Yes. You gotta embrace that smoke, and you gotta protect yourself on the court. Especially when you're going up against somebody else. Because I tell you what, man, I'll give you an example. When I was playing ball, when I tried out for the football team at the University of Texas, I walked on. I'm going through practice. They're going to try me, not only because I'm a freshman, because I'm a walk-on, right?
Yeah.
So I'm a really get tried, right?
Yeah.
And so, probably about 2 weeks in the camp, senior. I think it was a junior, senior. I can't remember. Fullback. We're going through running back drills, blah, 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 with the pads. You're supposed to come in and, touch them and keep going, right?
Mm-hmm.
Man, he came in and lit my ass up. Cheap shot. Because I wasn't expecting it. Because we ain't going live. We going half speed. Mm-hmm. I'm like, okay. That's what we doing. Mm-hmm. Teammates got on it. They came to my defense. Mm-hmm. Okay. I get you next drill. Mm-hmm. I get you next drill. Mm-hmm. Next day, we going through catching drills where the back's supposed to come out the backfield. You running a route, you the decoy on the route, and you running right past the linebacker. He was playing a linebacker position. Went in and took him out low. Yeah, I went low because you know why? I'm a freshman at the time. I'm 5'10", 175 pounds. You about 6'1", 225 pounds. I ain't stupid. I ain't finna try to hit you up high. I took you out low. I sure did. But guess what? I ain't had that problem no more in practice. And that's how I ended up making the damn team.
And the WNBA know what they have right now. They know what they have. Right now, man. And a lot of
Shout out Jay Bryant. Thanks for joining the show, bro. Appreciate you. Say Carmen Parson got his leg tore up in the playoffs. They didn't change the rule. No, they changed for Tom Brady. They ain't changing for nobody else.
Carson Palmer, good quarterback, but he wasn't the golden boy. He wasn't the golden boy. Right now, the WNBA, they see where they're at, and a lot of it has to do with Clark, and Angel Reese, and this whole class that's coming into the WNBA. They understand that. You can see that because you just pointed out the schedule. But here's what took them to the next level. That one play. There are moments and plays that elevates the league and get you to a place where you want to be and grow. what you just said made so much sense. If she'd have jumped up and at least charged her, she ain't have to touch her, charge her.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you, hey man, you talking about viewers, they would have arrived right then. The WNBA would have truly arrived at that moment right there. But she's so headstrong on protecting her image, her endorsement. She wasn't thinking about the league, her teammates, or anything. She was thinking about her image. And you can tell, now you can understand the frustration of some of the players in the league. The league don't hate on Caitlin Clark, man. Them girls don't. All of them not jealous. All of them, for the most part, they balling, man. You hear what I'm saying? For the most part, them girls balling, man. Like they balling. It's the media. It's the media. It's the fans that get this thing to rolling.
Yeah.
You know, of course it's gonna be.
Man, the hate is so thick on social media, bro. I mean, and it's just so racially divided, man. I mean, it's just so crazy, man, that it's just it's sad. It's really sad, man, because
it really is. It's sad.
Because sports, you know, now again, 1980, we had the whole bird magic thing. It was a different era then. But hell, you could still respect the hell out of Larry Bird and root for Magic Johnson. You say that's a bad white boy. It's a bad white boy. You know, and people in Indiana could say, you know what, we love Larry Bird, but Magic, that's a bad brother. You could give both of them love, man. But now it's like either if you root for Caitlin, you gotta hate Angel Reese, or if you root for Angel, you gotta hate Caitlin Clark. And it's just so sad, man, that we are there as a society that is bleeding over into sports, because sports has always been the place where you could pretty much eliminate race, where you could just go and watch the game, enjoy the game, sit next to people in the stands. You don't know them, they don't know you, but you all root for the same. Or you could be on the opposite side and have a good time. I go to Texas games all the time wearing my Titan stuff. I've never once had an issue. But now, man, it's just so and I'm not saying in the stadium, but I'm just saying the social media is just so toxic, man, that you understand why these young ladies and even these young men, you know, in football and basketball, why they have such a difficult time.
And also this right here. People didn't hate Larry Bird, or they didn't like Larry Bird. They didn't like the Boston Celtics.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? It's a huge difference, Ken. It's a huge difference. Everybody loved Bird. Everybody. He trash talk. He backed it up. He won. He got knocked on his ass. He got right back up. Everybody loved Larry Bird. But everybody hated the Boston Celtics. Mm-hmm. It's a big difference. So what we experienced as teenagers watching these guys play versus what we're watching now, and our kids that are into the WNBA, or the young generation that's into the WNBA is watching now, is ridiculous, because you're trying so hard to make this a black and white thing. You're trying so hard to make it that. And we as fans, for the most part, control that narrative. We control that narrative, man. Mm-hmm. Right here where we are right now as a fan, on the show that we have right here. We can stop that. It can start here. It has to start somewhere.
Right.
It has to start somewhere. Caitlin Clark it's just like any other human being. She's going to protect her own interests.
Mm-hmm.
Bottom line. Do you
And I ain't
remember?
mad at
Hey, guess what? They were frying Coach. And that girl spoke up. Now they flying top line. What the top fly is? What? Because I don't fly. I don't fly. I don't get up.
Charter. Yeah, they flying charter now.
I don't get up in the air. I ain't finna sit here and lie to you. I don't get up in the air. If we go down there to Tennessee, you're gonna have to knock me out and put me on the plane and wake me up when we get there. I'm just telling you, I'll go with you, bro, because I know I'm in good hands. But you're gonna have to get me fully intoxicated. And I'm gonna sleep that ride. Because I don't want to see the clouds. I don't want to see none of that, King.
You ain't never flown?
Two times in my whole life.
Two times.
I've drove a lot of places in previous marriages and stuff. We drove a lot of places. But up in the air, no.
That boy say, no, sir. No, sir.
But I mean, it was interesting. I putting a bow on it, wrapping it up with her. Man, I wish the young lady well. I'm glad she's in the NBA. I'm glad this thing is, I hope it don't turn out to a way that it can, which would be very, very negative. I don't think it's going to get that far. I think those that's in control and those of power are going to continue to put that bread behind her. And as long as she's successful, it's great for the league, man. But I really wish she'd have jumped right back up and got up in that girl's face. It'll be a whole different view. Look here, man. I mean, we've been tuning in, every week trying to find a game to watch, a WNBA, because now we have someone, that not only us as blacks, but the world is following behind. That's the difference. See, everybody loves Michael Jordan. Black, white, Chinese, whoever, they love. Now, everybody didn't love Charles Barkley, though. But everybody loved Mike. So, I mean, the league gets to sell in. I mean, I'm not upset with the schedule. I want to see her on TV. Let me see her play. And as long as she's playing good ball, she's going to be on TV. She's going to be on TV. So, let's hope they get past this. Like my girl Monica said, and let's get to talking about basketball, and let's get this infraction that has happened, this one moment that has happened that has truly captured eyes for definitely sure. It's captured viewers. Now let's put a good spin on there and let's get away from this and let's let these girls play, man. Let these girls play, man. Let these girls enjoy the game. Let us as fans enjoy the game.
No doubt. Well, we will see what happens going forward with the WNBA. Again, it's been hot. The ratings are up. Controversy sells. So we'll see what happens with the league going forward. Now we'll make a sharp right turn to the National Football League. See my boy decked out in his Texans gear, apropos, as we're going to talk about the starting quarterback for the Texans, CJ Stroud, who's been making a lot of noise this offseason. He's had a running feud, playfully, not so playfully, with the linebacking crew of the Indianapolis Colts, who the Texans will see in week 1 in Indianapolis, I believe, of the NFL season. And I think the Colts linebackers have kind of spoken up that, CJ kind of running his mouth a little bit too much, and they may have a little something for him. And then he went on to talk about Aaron Rodgers and Eli Manning, and that, he would rather, if he had a choice between careers, he would rather have Eli Manning's history compared to Aaron Rodgers' history. So I would turn the floor over to, the resident Texan fan in the house, Floyd B, and get his thoughts. Does CJ Stroud go in or stay out of the danger zone tonight?
My motto is keeping it real. That's my motto. Keeping it real. Real talk. And I want you to get close and look at the pain in my face right now. Because I'm about to do something, man, that's it's gonna hurt me emotionally, man. CJ, you have to go in the danger zone, man.
Punk, you're in the danger zone. 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 You're in the danger zone.
Man, you got to play the song that long? You didn't have to play it that long, man. Come on. Hey, why you something else, man? You something else, man.
I was trying to get the graphics up, man. I was trying to get the
graphics. We never played a song longer than a split second. You played that song a whole damn minute then, man. Man, you played that song a whole damn minute, man. Hey, man. Yeah.
Shout out Shot G and Digital Underground, man. Shout out Shot G.
He's in the danger zone with that comment there. As far as him chatting back and forth with coach linebackers, and even with Michael Parsons down in Dallas, he be spit fighting with him too back and forth. I don't have no problem with that. But when I do have a problem is when you are sitting up here and having a platform and what you're saying just don't make no damn sense at all. It don't make no damn sense at all. You would take Eli 2 championships over Aaron 1 and Aaron career. I don't know who would take that, man. Not even a diehard Eli fan would take Eli over Aaron Rodgers, man. Now, I don't know where CJ was coming from with that or his point or his logic to that. It has yet to be revealed. I'm going to call down there on Curb and ask them boy, take them boy to check his fever, man. He may have a temperature or something, man, because it didn't make sense, man. Aaron Rodgers, man, to me, will probably go down as a top 5 quarterback of all time. He's just that good, man. And because he only had one Super Bowl, that's one more Super Bowl than Dan Marino. That's one more Super Bowl than Warren Moon. It's one more Super Bowl than Dan Fouts. It's one more Super Bowl than Jim Kelly. And the list can go on and on. And winning does matter. But when we're talking about Eli freaking Manning, bro, who have led the league 3 times in interceptions, you're going to take him because he got 2 Super Bowl wins over Aaron Rodgers? CJ, stay focused on this upcoming season. Get off of social media. Let them guys have it now. Let them guys have it. You prepare for this upcoming season, my brother, because the comments that you're making right now, I don't have a problem to chatter with the other players, but when you get on national platform and you make a statement like that, people gonna start looking at you sideways now. Like, are you serious? I mean, are you drinking your own Kool-Aid, CJ? Let's not do that, man.
CJ also put himself as the 3rd best quarterback in the NFL. That was mighty humble of him, behind Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes.
I seen that.
He had Dak in the top 5.
Yeah, I seen that. And
So that
Josh
was
Allen
kind
was
of
number 4. Josh Allen was number 4.
Yeah, Josh Allen number 4. Having Dak in the top 5 of a quarterback, that's kind of asinine. So this is what I'm reading from CBSSports.com, and CJ Stroud mentioned Aaron Rodgers multiple times, and it wasn't exactly in a positive manner. At one point during the podcast, Stroud was asked if he would rather have Eli Manning's career or Rodgers' career, and he didn't hesitate. You want the rings? Eli got 2, Stroud said. At another point in the podcast, Stroud insinuated that the reason Aaron Rodgers only has 1 Super Bowl is because he might not be such a good teammate. Quote, you know what I think it is? I've talked to Tom Brady about this because he's a good mentor to me. What he told me is his teammates and how he treats his teammates. And that's where I think it falls off with Rodgers. We don't know how Aaron Rodgers treats his teammates, but you can guarantee that Tom Brady treats his teammates right because how he got those wins. It goes on to say, on top of that, Stroud also said that if someone like Matthew Stafford had been getting the same supporting cast as Rodgers throughout his career, that he would have done much better. Quote, if you give Matthew Stafford a chance like Aaron Rodgers had, I guarantee you he might have more rings. I'd say he'd have like 3 or 4 rings. So I don't know that I completely disagree with that. I've never been a big Matthew Stafford fan. I understand the respect that he garners around the league. I understand he won the 1 Super Bowl with the Rams. I don't think the Rams were the best team that year. I think they just kind of played. They got somewhat lucky on their run to the Super Bowl that year. Interesting comments by CJ there.
The year the Rams went to the Super Bowl first, they beat the 49ers in the NFC Championship game, if I'm not mistaken.
Championship game, I believe so.
Yeah, I'm not mistaken.
And they beat the Bengals in the Super Bowl.
They beat the Bengals in the Super Bowl.
And we know who should have been in the Super Bowl that year, but I won't even go there.
Aaron Rodgers is not the greatest teammate. All you gotta do is ask some former players. They'll talk. They've been talking.
You know, have they? Because every time I hear them, they talk about. Yeah. Well, I don't know about who's the wide receiver that's on Fox. Not Donald Driver, but Greg Jennings.
That's James Jones.
James Jones now, but Greg Jennings is also on.
Yeah, Greg Jennings is also on Fox as well.
Right.
Yeah,
so because Greg Jennings left Green Bay and went to Minnesota, so I don't think they parted on the best of terms.
The team and him didn't depart well, but he's been publicly quoting, Aaron is Aaron. Aaron has his ways, he has his likes, he has his dislikes. He has his favorite receivers. He doesn't like rookie receivers. Aaron is Aaron, and there is some facts to that. That if he become a better teammate, and not jumping off of this, that's the same thing that's being said about Kevin Durant right now as we speak. Mm-hmm. Same thing being said about Kevin Durant. It's not that he's a bad teammate. It's just that he's not one of those that galvanize the troops and get them together. And we do this and we do this and we work out. He's not that. And Aaron Rodgers is not that. What Aaron Rodgers and Kevin Durant are is great. So when you are great and you perform at a high level, a lot of those bad habits you got or of subtle ways that you may have may get swept under the rug until former players, leave the team or leave the league, and now you'll start hearing more and more about that. But that's not that. I've heard that about Aaron. He's not the best teammate. He's not the one. I mean, hey man, those guys, that last season that he had in Green Bay where they lost to Detroit and could have made the playoff, that was a tough year on those receivers. He was he didn't work with them well at all, man. He didn't work with them well. Now,
Right.
if CJ would have been more specific and say, Aaron problem is he has a problem working with young receivers.
Right.
I mean, I might have could have jumped on board with that all the way.
Mm-hmm.
Because that is publicly known that he doesn't like young receivers, don't like to work with young receivers, don't have patience with young receivers. So that, I mean, it all could play a part. At first Matthew Stafford, I mean, come on, man. When I Matthew Stafford, Dan Fouls, all Matthew got a Super Bowl. But let's be real. The Rams defense was great. You had Aaron Donald, you had Von Miller. Their defense was great, man. I'm not taking anything from Sean McVay and what Matthew Stafford did that year, and they won the Super Bowl. But that defense was strong, man. The defense was very strong, man. And they played a Cincinnati team that they almost lost to.
Almost.
They almost lost to.
Yep.
So again, tomato. I try not to take players and put them in another players or another team and see how successful they be. I don't go that far. I don't reach that far when I'm watching the game or particular players. But the Aaron Rodgers thing, I'm not gonna just diss him for that. I will diss him for the Eli Manning thing. So yeah, that was ridiculous, though, man.
Yeah. My concern, I don't mind my position. Look, it's the off season. Guys have a lot of time on their hand right now. It's mandatory camp right now. Also, I mean, we're in June, and it's getting close.
Getting close, bro.
Getting close.
They're getting close,
so,
bro.
My concern, keeping it a buck, my concern for CJ is you came in, people didn't know what to expect your rookie year, right? And you exceeded all expectations. So now, you have a target on you, right? You are the next in line, right? Behind Lamar, behind Patrick, you put yourself in that spot. You're the next in line to be that next great young quarterback. Don't ruin it, bro, by one talking and chirping too much where you make this is not basketball, right? This is not basketball where you may get a little cheap shot in the back like Caitlin Clark did. This is football, bro. And you don't want to piss off defenders on the other team to come at you and maybe take a cheap shot at you because you've been chirping all season. That's what you don't want to happen because those guys can take you out. You can't protect yourself like a tight end or offensive lineman or even a running back. You can't protect yourself at all times. You're in vulnerable positions in every play. You're in a vulnerable position where somebody can take you out. And you don't want to give the other team the ammunition to do that. You play the Jets on Halloween night. You're going to find out how much Aaron Rodgers' teammates like him on Halloween night. You're going to find out how much the Indianapolis Colts defenders rally around each other on opening day. That's all I'm saying. Because, I mean, we talk Texans, Titans, and all that. But at the end of the day, I want the kid to be successful. I want him to have a great career. I want him to have a long career. But you cannot put a target on your back And that's my fear for him going into this season.
My brother, take a deep breath. Take a deep breath.
I'm good. I'm
Take a deep breath. Take a deep breath.
I'm good.
Take a deep breath. Listen. Every time you step out on the field, there's a target on you. It's football.
Okay.
Every time you step out on the field, there's a target on you. There's a target. I don't care what position you're. I mean, the quarterback position can be even more so because again, they don't have a lot of ways of protecting themselves. It's definitely relying on teammates. Definitely relying on that. But I don't think there's a player in the league, quarterback, wide receiver, in that fear because they're speaking out and they're saying something. Oh, wow, everybody coming at me now. Hey, man, they're the AFC South champs. They're the AFC South champ. He's the NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year. They made it to the second round of the playoffs. Yes, there's a target on the team. Yes, it's a target. Yes, are you really as good as you presented to us the season before? It's a target. But for us to chirking and stuff like that, hey man, I don't take that. I don't take that too far, man. You know,
right?
He get his head knocked off. He gonna get his head knocked off because he's playing football, man. You know, he's playing football. He gets his head knocked because he's playing football. Again, I'm not concerned about guys going out of their way, you know, to put the helmet on him, or hey man, them guys trying to hit you every chance they get, especially with the rules protecting the offensive player, especially the quarterback. So any chance you get an open shot at him, you're gonna take the shot. You know, that if you was a linebacker, corner, myself, if somebody, we're gonna go at him. So CJ, I'm pretty convinced that he's aware and know how to protect himself. He ain't gonna, he's not gonna, put himself out there where he can just get, wild hit, not himself, But again, I got faith in Nico Ryan and Bobby Solik and the offensive line that we're gonna keep him healthy, for the whole season. Now, he keep talking, man. The more you talk, the more you have to prove. And that's what I want to see him do. Prove it on the field. Keep talking, young man. Keep talking. Keep roughing them guys' feather. Let them think about that. You the only guy that's on the Houston Texans team is 50, 54, 55 other players on that team that's going to contribute to us whooping that ass on opening day. Yeah.
I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see it. I got a question for you, my brother.
Talk to me.
How would you like to have a direct deposit of $88,743,000,000 hit your account overnight? $88,743,000 guaranteed at signing. That's what Justin Jefferson got. I'm just saying I'm gonna take 50%.
I seen 110 million signing. I might have been looking it wrong. You looking at it right, bro?
No, I said 88 million guaranteed at signing.
I thought it was 110.
110 guaranteed over the life of the contract.
Oh, to sign it, just to sign it.
Sign your name. I'm putting 88 million in your direct deposit, in your Bank of America, your Chase account. Now, Sam gonna take about 44. He's gonna take about half.
He can have half. He can have half. I get. Yeah. I won't have no. But you can have half. I got 44 million.
44 million. As soon as you sign your name.
Hey man.
110 guaranteed.
The young man earned every single penny of it.
Yes, sir.
But what is happening in the league right now, Ken, is what they've been trying to avoid for the last decade. And that's overpaying wide receivers. Remember, wide receiver was the one, and early on, running back was getting their money. In certain teams like Philly, like Pittsburgh didn't want to pay Le'Veon, and then back in the day we had Emmett sitting out and all that. But the league did not want to pay wide receivers like that until Tyreek Hill broke the bank. The Miami Dolphins started that, and this is where they're at right now, and they didn't want to go there. You don't want to pay a wide receiver $35 million a year. They couldn't see that. That's the market now. And Justin Jefferson earned every penny of that. Here's a question I have for you.
Mm-hmm.
What do you pay CeeDee Lamb?
Not $35 million.
He does not get that contract there.
No.
To me, CeeDee Lamb can get the Jalen Waddle contract. The Amar St. Brown guy, the guy out of Detroit, he can get that money.
Got about 30 million.
Yeah, he can get that money down. He can get that money down. He can get that money down.
Yeah.
But he's not in Justin Jefferson league. He's not. And Justin Jefferson missed 7 games last season. He missed 7 games. Just imagine if he don't miss those games.
Mm.
And I think it's good for whomever the quarterback may be up under the center for Minnesota that you have a stud out there who can make you look much better than you are as you learn to get better. You got the guy. You got to get that guy. So he earns that. Minnesota knew that. They don't have to pay anybody that's throwing him the ball. And hopefully JJ, and I ain't talking about JJ Watts, I'm told hopefully JJ can live up being the 11th pick in the damn draft, because I sure didn't think he was a first round pick, and I still don't think JJ McCarthy was a first round pick. So we'll see how that go. But in the incoming days and weeks of this offseason, it's gonna be some moves made, Ken, that's probably gonna make us raise our eyebrow. There's still a situation down in San Francisco. They just extended C-Mac on 2-year extension. They still got 2 years left on Deebo Samuel contract and Brandon Oye. Am I pronouncing it right? The wide receiver for San Francisco, Brandon.
Ayuk.
Brandon Ayuk. Yeah. Again, he's playing on the last year of his deal. So far, San Francisco, John Lynch hats off to you. He's been doing a pretty good job in getting these guys and being able to extend and keep this team together. But he's going to have to win this season, because if not, he's going to have to play Purdy, and probably going to pay Purdy more than he want to pay Purdy. I mean, I'm still not sold on Brock Purdy, man. I'm not. I don't know how you feel about him. I like to hear how you feel about him. I know we kind of drifting off a little bit, but how do you feel about Purdy,
though? Purdy's a good quarterback. Now, I don't know if he's a great quarterback. I don't know if he's a quarterback that can lead a team, say a team that's not good. I don't know how he would do in Carolina or Washington or Minnesota or Tennessee. That's fine. That's fair. Yeah. Tennessee, New Orleans. I don't know how he would do with a team that doesn't have talent around it. And I think that's the decision that I think that Miami is struggling with Tua as well, because you have these 2 quarterbacks in Purdy and Tua, who, like most quarterbacks, if you give them time, if you give them a pocket, if you give them weapons on the outside, they've proven that they can succeed at a high level as long as you give them that particular talent. You used to talk about Ryan Tannehill, right? He was a guy that could work as long as you gave him high-end talent on the outside and a running game. Well, San Francisco has all of that. They just gave an extension to Christian McCaffrey, right? So they have all of those weapons on the outside. So he's good enough to where they got to a Super Bowl. He left the field with the lead against Patrick Mahomes. So he put his team in position to win the Super Bowl. The defense couldn't stop him. So he's done all that you could ask of him, especially being the last pick in the draft. He's done much more than you could expect otherwise. And the other guys that you have drafted,
wide receivers,
Trey Lance, well, I'm talking about quarterback, Trey Lance did not work out. So you fell into Brock Purdy. So in my opinion, you have to pay him. Now, when I say you got to pay him $60 million, but do you want to give him 30, 35, 40 million? Yes, he's earned that. In the marketplace, he's earned that. Now, if you take his weapons away, because you saw what happened with Ryan Tannehill once you took his weapons away. You took Julio, you took Corey Davis away, you took Julio Jones away, you took A.J. Brown away, and you left him with trash. And he couldn't perform. So if you take Brandon Ayuk away, if you don't play Debo, and you try to draft young wide receivers and try to, protect the cap in that way because now you got to play Purdy, then things could go sideways. So it's a dangerous game that it's a dangerous calculation. It's like a chemistry calculation. It can turn into something great or it can blow up in your face, depending on how you handle it. But I would pay him because he was good enough to get my team to a Super Bowl, and you got to have weapons and you got to have a quarterback.
And it wasn't his fault they lost the Super Bowl.
And it wasn't his fault they lost the Super Bowl. So
what I still see, I'm going to
ask you a tough question. Brock Purdy, Jalen Hurts.
That's not even a question.
They both got to the Super Bowl. They both lost.
Yeah, but here's what make that hard. I know where you're coming from. See, you think you're slick. You think you're slick.
I'm asking a serious question.
You're coming through the back door on me. You think you're slick. Jalen Hurts has been blessed to be surrounded with talent. He didn't have a season that when he didn't have any talent around him.
Just like Brock Purdy.
What's
the difference?
Exactly like Brock. But what we do know about Jalen Hurts is that Jalen Hurts can win you a game or two just on his name. Can Brock do that? Have Brock shown us that?
What qualities has Jalen shown that he can win a game by himself that Brock hasn't?
Well, for one, if running has gotten him hurt, but he's a far better athlete. He's a better athlete first than Brock. Then he's a better quarterback than Brock. Come on, man. Come on, Ken.
I'm asking.
Jalen Hurts throws a great deep ball.
Okay.
Kyle Shanahan's system really don't call for you to blow them up over the top. It's not made like that. Everybody has put their twist to it. Bobby Solik and guys that come before them, all up under Mike Shanahan, down to Kyle Shanahan, all of them from that tree, Sean McVay, all of them are from that tree. And they all take the West Coast and put their own twist to it. Some of them do it the Joe Montana way, where you chip and chunk and then you get them on a big play. Jalen can beat you over the top. He can beat you over the top because he can extend a play, buy you time for your receiver to get to where you want him to. I don't know if Brock got that in him because we haven't really seen Brock moving around a whole lot out the pocket. He can move around, but we haven't seen him make that play or have that moment where it's him. He did that. I haven't seen that out there. So Jalen Hurts all day long.
Okay.
Jalen Hurts all day long.
Okay.
Now, you're gonna have to pay him, but I don't think that's gonna be I mean, he become a free agent. I'm gonna be on. I don't think there's gonna be a huge market for Brock Purdy, man. Brock Purdy. I really don't. I mean, we'll see. I think he got one more year left, right? They're gonna have to pay him, right? This is going into his third season here, right? He's actually eligible for extension this year. And you know they're not going to do that this season. So, you know, I'm anxious to see that, but no, I don't think. I think Purdy is definitely a product of a system.
Okay. All right. Well, Justin Jefferson's got his money, so you got CeeDee Lamb, and then you got Jamar Chase.
Well, Chase gonna get his. He's gonna get it.
Look, man. Look, Cincinnati. We've been watching the Bengals forever, and we know that they are a notoriously cheap franchise.
They're not going to be cheap on this one.
Cheap franchise.
They're not going to be cheap on this one. They didn't waste no time by giving Burrow the money. They didn't waste no time. They paid him. They're going to pay.
That's all the person they paid. They haven't paid T. Higgins. They haven't paid Jamar Chase, and they hadn't paid the defensive line. What's his name? Hendricks.
Yeah, they ain't paid him yet neither.
They ain't paid nobody.
They're going to pay Chase. They're going to pay Chase. And what they're going to do is
he going to get more than Justin Jefferson? Is he going to get Justin Jefferson money? He been to the Super Bowl. Justin Jefferson haven't. They both LSU products. Hell, they may buy LSU after the money they make. I mean, what the boy? Can y'all pay my daughter's tuition?
Say, man, you know, and not getting off the subject because I know we've been riding a long time tonight, but let's give LSU their call. LSU has turned into wide receiver university. LSU has turned into wide receiver university, man. Let's get them boys. Let's shout out to them, man. They are putting them in the NFL, man, and they put them in there rapidly too, man. Mm-hmm. You know, so but without a doubt, they're gonna pay Chase. Now, what they're gonna do is they're gonna stick it to T. Higgins, you know, because Higgins is not crazy enough not to turn down $20 million because if he, you know, that's what the franchise tag is, $20 million. He cannot sign it, don't play at all. Then he can't play till week 8, right? He got to miss the first 4 game of the season, something, right? Something like that within the rules. They're not going to pay him. They're not going to pay him. No, you know that. You know that, and I know that. They're not going to pay him.
And he know that.
And he know that. They haven't even discussed a contract with this guy in over a year. Not even discussed it. They're not going to pay him. They're going to pay Chase. Now, what they are doing is hoping something happened along the way where somebody will give them, you know, a first, because that's what they want for him. They're hoping something happens somewhere along the line and somebody will be desperate enough to give them to overcompensate them for T. Higgins, man. But they're not going to resign him. I mean, you know that, I know that, and hell, like you say, he knows that.
Right.
So, you know, Chase gonna get his bag. He probably gonna get more than Justin. He's probably gonna get more than Justin. Yes, take that to the bank. He gonna get more than Justin. Yeah, he gonna get more.
Wow. Love to see it.
You gonna see
Bengals, Cincinnati.
You gonna see it.
Make sure y'all don't get in the danger zone. Make sure y'all stay out of the danger zone.
Tennessee gonna see him. Tennessee got him in week 14. They'll see. Tennessee got Cincinnati in week 14, don't they?
I don't know.
Yeah. Week 14. I remember y'all had the last 5 games of the schedule on there, and Cincinnati, Indianapolis, and the Texans, and y'all had somebody else on there. But y'all got them at the end of the season. You know. Right. But the next chance you get, you put the Cincinnati Bengals management in the danger zone because they are notorious.
Yeah, we're gonna see what they do.
They are notoriously cheap.
But while we're on it, we're going to talk about the Dallas Cowboys. We're going to talk about the Larry Allen passing in just a moment. But before we get to Larry Allen, since we're on guys looking for contracts, Dak Prescott, he's in the final year of his deal. What the Cowboys going to do? They're going to let him, because they can't franchise him.
Can't do that. That was part of the last deal.
Yeah, you can't franchise him. So
and
you let him play it out and you let him hit free agency, or you gonna tighten him up again with a fat new contract?
Me, if I was a general manager of Dallas Cowboys, I would let him play it out, and I would let him hit the market. I would. Look.
So who's your quarterback in 2026?
Who knows?
2025.
2026.
25.
He's not even on their roster yet. He's not even on their roster yet. Now, there's a strong possibility. Let's see how. I don't believe Mike. This is Mike McCarthy last season in Dallas too. I think they both is gone. This is just me. I think they both is gone. Jerry didn't give McCarthy no extension. He didn't extend his quarterback, and normally they go hand in hand. But they done been down this road with Dak before. This Dak 8 year in Dallas, 9 years somewhere along, 8, 9 years somewhere. He ain't done it yet, man. So I'm not gonna keep paying you. Nah, he hasn't done that yet, man.
I don't necessarily disagree with you. The only question, because we talk about this when you fire a coach. Okay, you can fire a coach, but who you gonna hire? Who's gonna be your quarterback? You could go from a 12-win team to a 4-win team if you don't have a quarterback. You can turn into Carolina if you don't have a quarterback.
If they give Dak the money, then one of those other guys gonna be pissed and be franchised. And to me, there are more impact players on that team than Dak Prescott. To me.
My question is, no matter how great CD is and Michael Parsons is and the other cornerback who had all the interceptions last year, no matter how great those guys are, we all know it's a quarterback league. You don't have a quarterback, you can't win games.
You can't win.
You can't win games. What?
And the Cowboys are just strange in their loyalty to their own players. Jerry thinks because he drafted them, they are it. So I would let him hit the market, man. I would let him hit the market, man. And you go from there and you see which way you rock, man. I don't see any other guys or backups that has maybe kind of like shown glimpse that they could be a starter. I think the backup down in Cincinnati probably was one of the best backups that we seen last season. He played fairly well until they came down the stretch, and of course his inexperience caught up with him, but not lack of playing time caught up with him. But again, I don't see any quarterbacks, any backups. Who knows? Who knows?
Oh, I got a name for you. What about Justin Fields? Because he may be a free agent next year, because he's going to be the backup to Russell Wilson. And he may be the solution in Dallas.
I would like that move for Justin. I really would. But again, who the next head coach is going to be?
Hell, it may be Bill Belichick.
Bill Belichick will never coach in the NFL again. You heard that from me. He's done. He's done. Here's a name that might interest Jerry Jones and maybe can persuade to bring in a Justin Fields, who won't be demanding a whole lot of money. And that's the offensive coordinator for Houston Texans, Bobby Soley. He can be the difference in Dallas. If all depending on us having another great season and CJ, playing well and a product of a play calling, he should be a hot commodity. Should be a hot commodity. It may be something that Jerry look at, but without a doubt, anything short of an NFC championship game, and Dak and Mike McCarthy both will be gone.
All right. We shall see. We shall see if Jerry sticks to his guns and makes Dak play it out. We'll see what happens. So finally, to wrap up the show, we want to give condolences to the family of the great Larry Allen, offensive guard, Hall of Famer, multiple-time Pro Bowler, All-Pro. Died this past week at the age of 52. From what I read, I think his family was on vacation in Mexico. I'm not sure what happened, what the details were surrounding his death. Only 52 years old, man, younger than us. And man, it's so tough when you see guys that work their entire lives to enjoy the fruits of their labor in retirement, right? And again, we don't know what happened, but it's sad to see these guys we look at as heroes and as gladiators go so young. Last week we were talking about Bill Walton dying at the age of, I believe, 71, which is still somewhat young. To pass away from cancer. So just want to give our thoughts and condolences to the Cowboy family and Larry Allen and his family, and definitely let them know that we're praying for them.
Definitely, man. Larry Allen, to me, will probably go down as a top 10 all-time lineman. I wasn't sure. I have to go back and look at it again when they made this 100 thing, and they had, I think, 10 players of each or 5 players of each. But I think Larry Allen was one of those guys. If not, he should have been. Of course, I watched him play. I watched him play tackle. I watched him play guard. I watched him. He was physical. He was fast. He was a big guy who could move, man. And again, a lot of reason why Emmitt Smith don't get the smoke and the flowers that he deserved is because everybody knew he had the best offensive line in football for 7-8 consecutive years, and all that started with Larry Allen. So shout out to Larry, man. Again, man, we look at these guys again, and you use the right words, gladiators, man. These guys are constantly working on their bodies and staying probably in the best shape that they can for the occupation that they had, and that was playing professional football, But it's just also another reminder to us, big bro, that death don't have an age or color or size. Death don't have any of that, And we would not think a guy 52 years old, a former football player and Hall of Famer, would be dead at the age of 52. We couldn't see that nowhere. We don't see that. Right. But again, it's just a reminder that, man, we got to cherish every moment that we have here. We have to love our family members as much as we can. Those that want to be loved and can be loved, we have to do that, And just be thankful for the time that you have with them, because again, man, you here today and you're gone tomorrow, man. So shout out to Larry Allen family, man, and I hope and pray that they get through this ordeal, man.
Yeah, no doubt, man, no doubt, absolutely. So we'll definitely be praying for them and praying for the family, and be praying for Cowboys, the biggest brand in the NFL, one of the biggest brands in the league, and I hadn't seen that in the world. I hadn't really seen a lot of it discussed on some of the shows. I haven't really been watching NFL Network during the off season because I know they're going through a lot of changes and whatnot. But I haven't seen anyone give it a lot of attention. So we definitely want it.
Yeah, it hadn't gotten a lot of attention. I've heard them say some mention it, but they didn't dedicate a segment or anything to it.
Yeah, I haven't really seen that. Which is surprising considering it's a Cowboy legend.
Cowboy, yeah, considered a Cowboy.
Yeah. So for anyway, but we definitely thank you guys for rocking with us for 2 hours tonight. We had a lot to catch up on over the last couple of weeks and a lot going forward. We look to be with you on Sunday night after game 2 of the NBA Finals. We'll be 2 games in by the time we have our next show. So, Floyd, you have a chance to look and, you can make kind of tell us what you think about the series.
Yeah.
We'll be 2 games in.
Yeah.
So, and then also on Sunday night, we'll talk on the Houston Astros. We couldn't get to it tonight. Devastating loss, losing Christian Javier for the season. The pitching staff has just been completely devastated by injuries so far this year. It's been a bad year for the Astros, and we'll take a look at what's going on with them coming up on Sunday night. But for that, we're going to bid you all a good night. We know everybody got to get up early tomorrow and hit it. So on behalf of my partner, Floyd B., I am Ken Moore. Thank you for tuning in to the Danger Zone.
See you when I see you.